This is the Used Car Dealer Podcast.
Hello, Zach here, and we have a great guest on the podcast today, Bill Zadeits, the president of Cherokee Media Group, which includes Auto Remarketing and the Used Car Week conference, which I'm sure most of our audience has heard before. Bill, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Yeah, Zach, so honored to be invited. Appreciate that. And love what you guys have done with this podcast. And really a real honor for me that you would have me on. So thank you. Looking forward to it.
So Bill, let's get started. And for those of us listening, talk about how you got into the automotive publishing business.
Man, that's a great question. Originally, when I came out of school, I wanted to be in radio and TV. So my first job was actually at an AM radio station in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Just happened to be the flagship for the University of North Carolina, the Tar Heels, and did a lot of sports and so forth there in radio. And then eventually, about a year later, got into TV. And I was the sports anchor at the NBC affiliate down in Wilmington, North Carolina, and did radio and TV for a little while. And learned the media business, and also came to the real kind of realization, I guess, that all the ad sales guys were driving these sweet Beamers and stuff, and I was driving my little, Pontiac Sunbird around as the sports anchor, and I'm like, "What are you guys doing?" And they said, "Man, no, you need to get into advertising sales." And so that was my back door into media, and it just so happened that I landed at this company that was publishing Auto Remarketing, working in the automotive industry. And so while I had a great media background, I had to learn the automotive stuff, and it's been a lot of fun. That happened, oh gosh, I guess I started here back in '96. So it's been a long ride, and it's been great. It's been awesome to kind of learn and meet so many great people in the automotive industry, and really cool stuff that we've been able to do over that time frame.
Yeah, and I've noticed you have several different properties. You have like a buy here, pay here one.
Yeah.
You have a podcast that you guys do. Like, what's been the evolution of the different properties in the automotive sphere of Cherokee?
When I first started, it really was just a print magazine. It was a print magazine, and the whole premise was that, okay, we're going to produce content and share content with dealers, franchise dealers, independent dealers, but specifically on the used car side. And that wasn't as cool as it is now, way back then. And it started to really roll as, leasing became more and more prevalent, and those cars were coming off lease and they were available in the used car market. And when franchise dealers really got a hold of that kind of product, I think we really saw the used car industry take off, because it changed a little bit the dynamic between the independent dealer and the franchise dealer. And like you said, we even produce content on the buy here, pay here side as well. So the entire spectrum really is what we focus on from a used car side of things. And but it evolved from the print magazine to a website, and from the website to how do we drive people to that website? It's like, oh, we can produce email content, and the emails started to come out. And then in 1999, we decided we were going to produce our first event, our first conference, and it's the National Remarketing Conference, which is still a part of Used Car Week, kind of the cornerstones of Used Car Week as we grew. So like a lot of companies, I don't know that there was like any brilliant strategy to it, but we started and worked hard and expanded over time. We've got a great group of people, content providers and designers, ad sales, event people. And it's just, like I said, it's just been an awesome ride. I can't believe it's been 25 years, but it has been. So I guess all this gray hair on the side here, it wasn't there when I first started, but it's been a great ride. And over that time, I had the opportunity to buy the company, and from our founder, Ron Smith, who just a great entrepreneur. I know that's part of, kind of runs through the blood of what you guys do here as well. And he started the company, bootstrapped it, and really just set things up for us very nicely, for sure.
Wow, what a great story. And the Auto Remarketing publication, it's been covering the pandemic, inventory shortage, all the M&A and auto software. What has the last year been like from your lens?
You know what? I give a credit to Joe Overby and Nick Zulovich, who are senior editors. Those guys just do an amazing job. It's amazing to me how much content that they're able to push out to the industry. It's been crazy, right? I mean, I think that when we look at the M&A markets in particular, especially some of these big dealer deals that have kind of gone down over the last couple of months, it really is eye-opening. And even on a larger scale, if you follow the public companies, I mean, their stock is rising and continues to drift upward. And so it's really been a great time to be in the dealer world. Not easy. I'm not going to say it's been easy at all. I know there's been some hard decisions to be made and some hard times, but all in all, there's been shown some resilience in the used car side of the market in particular. As you know, we've seen a lot of different things happen, the chip shortage and all these other things that are creating a lack of new cars coming into the system. And that has really impacted the used car market as well. But we always say around here, the first step in manufacturing a used car is to sell a new car. And so that has to happen. And I think we're getting back to it. I think there's certainly some supply chain things that are going on, but I'm an optimist, and I'm always telling our team around here, hey, we're one day closer to this being over. And I think that's about the best prognostication I can have on that. I don't know when, but hey, we're one day closer. So, yeah.
So what do you think has been the most surprising in terms of the auto industry in 2021 thus far?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. And I don't know if it's surprising as much as it is to me just revealing about the used car industry. And I think it goes back to that word resilience, right? I think that the dealers and the OEMs and the auto finance and the vendor community that comes around it, everyone has had to come out of 2020, which was absolutely nuts, and look at new ways of doing business. Look at new ways to serve the customer, to serve the consumer at the highest level. And I think that to me has been encouraging. It's been great to see how people have rallied around each other, helped each other, and how we've kind of kept the country going. I mean, again, I'm not saying it's all been easy, and I'm not saying that it happened at the snap of a finger, but I think the industry, to me, really has shown resilience and really shown creativity and really shown itself to be a place, again, entrepreneurial, right? I mean, just some great ideas. Not everything worked, okay, but a lot of those things that did work have really kept us moving and kept used car sales going.
So you've been running the Used Car Week conference for many years now.
Yeah.
What has it been like over the last 2 years with the pandemic and the conference side of the business? And how has that helped or made adjustments to how you plan for Used Car Week 2021?
Yeah, no, I'll get into the weeds a little bit on conference production and management and that type of thing. Obviously 2020, we had to go digital, right? Had to go digital. And so it forced us to engage with some new platforms that would enable, the ability for dealers and auto finance executives and auctions and all these, to come together in a virtual format and in a digital format. And we were able to do that successfully, and that was great. And one of the cool things that came out of that for us on the conference side was an assumption that I made, and I was completely wrong. I was of the assumption, I was saying, hey, if we have Zach on at 2 p.m. on a Monday and we promote the heck out of that, everybody's going to show up at 2 o'clock on Monday because Zach's awesome and we're doing a great job, and boom. And that happened to a certain extent. But what I didn't realize was that I would say to Zach, hey, Zach, in addition to your live segment, would you record a 15 or 20 minute kind of complimentary session as well for these dealers and put your expertise and your best practices out there? And the recorded on-demand stuff, kind of our own version of Netflix, took off like a rocket. Everyone was consuming that content at their own pace, on their own schedule, 10 o'clock at night, whatever it may have been. I thought the live content was going to be great because it was going to be so engaging. And it did meet that to a certain extent. But what I had no idea about and what I had no clue was just how much the on-demand content was going to be accepted and not only accepted, but just like absolutely off the charts. And so what we've done with our live events now, as we come back into live events and Used Car Week in November, is that on the Used Car Week website, we're going to have on-demand content in addition to the live as well, because there's still some people that may never go to a conference again, and that's cool. I get it. There's just different thoughts out there and different approaches, but what that does, that gives us a whole new audience, and it gives us an opportunity to include a lot of different speakers that may not have normally wouldn't have had room for them at a hotel or wherever, conference center. You only have so many rooms that you can put people in for live sessions, but with on-demand content, we can really expand that. And that's one of the things that we're doing this year with Used Car Week. So I'm excited about that.
So what are some of the most exciting parts of Used Car Week this year?
Yeah, Used Car Week is really an umbrella for the various tracks where we generate content across the used car space. So if you're looking at an umbrella of Used Car Week at the top, within one track, we have the retail segment of things, right? It's going to be everything surrounding the dealership, the selling of used cars, dealer training, all of that type of stuff, the OEMs, the CPO, all of that type of thing would be in the retail track. And then on the other track, we have the auto finance group, hand in glove, right, with the dealers in terms of what that might be. And then the third track is the repossession and collections. And let's face it, I mean, those guys have had kind of a tough time just because of, hey, we can't repossess all these cars. And at a certain extent, the government was like, hey, no repossessions, none of this type of stuff. But the repo and the collection space really does feed the used car industry. It really does feed it with great inventory. So that's the third track. The fourth track is what I mentioned before. It's a national remarketing conference. It's really on wholesale acquisition and in that market. And again, that's where we kind of cut our teeth. That's where we, for almost 30 years now, have been publishing auto remarketing. And so that's been great. And then, new this year, and you and I have talked about this just a little bit, it's really exciting, is what we're calling the Navicon. And what that stands for is the National Auto Venture and Investors Conference. We touched on it earlier, right? The M&A activity has just been so hot, not only on the dealership level, but as you said, within the software space, within all the vendors community. It's just been red hot. And we knew that that could be a great conference to bring in some new people even to the event, right? And so we have partnered with Steve Greenfield. He's with Automotive Ventures. Steve had great careers with Cox and Auto Trader and TrueCar. I mean, just a really smart guy. And Steve is just really, in with that M&A group. He understands who the players are. Automotive Ventures actually is a fund. He's going to have different funds where he's investing in technology companies within the space. And so we went to Steve and said, hey, we have this idea for this event. Would you be willing to kind of host it, moderate these sessions, and bring in some people that could really add value to the attendee experience? And he's done that. I mean, he's done that in spades, and it's been awesome. I mean, he's got speakers from CarMax coming in. Of course, ACV is on the docket, Repairify, Aztec. All of this group, I mean, I could just keep going. So we're excited about that. So what we've done is try to create an entire user experience that you can pick and choose. Hey, I'm just going to go for a couple of days and take in these things here. Or if I've got time, I may stay for the entire week, really Monday through Thursday, Monday afternoon through Thursday, and take all of this in. So we're excited about that. Down through the years, it's been a great kind of end of the year reunion for the industry to come together, all the different segments. And we're looking forward to that again, November 15, when we kick it off at Red Rock.
Yeah, no, that's so exciting. And I really like the addition, and Steve Greenfield's great with the venture, oriented conference. So let's talk about some futures now. What are your predictions in terms of the used car marketplace going into 2022?
Yeah, and I think that, that's one of the things that we have the benefit of our timeline with Used Car Week. Is like it's far enough at the end of the year that you can take a really significant look back with some storylines and really see how things have occurred. But it's also a great time to kind of take a look ahead, right? And the expert certainly, and I do not claim to be one at all, but I do read what our guys put out there, and I think that we can see, inventories are going to continue to be tight, right? It's going to continue in the used car space in particular. We're going to see inventories. You're going to have to be creative in how you're sourcing your inventory. Again, whether you're a buy here, pay here dealer, a strong independent dealer, franchise dealer, whatever that may be, you're going to have to stay creative with what that's going to be. And then as the chip situation improves, I think we're going to see some incentives on a lot of some of the new cars that are sitting right now to get them sold. And I think that will bring used car prices down a bit. And that's fine because they're probably running a little hot, or have run hot for a little while now. But I think that what we're going to see, that as we move through 2022, a little more normalization of what the market may be. It may not be what we saw, years ago prior to COVID, but I think we're going to go back, all things being equal, without any other massive, industry
Yeah.
stops or whatever. But I think there's a good chance that we could find ourselves moving back toward a more normalized used car market.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with that. And lastly, Bill, we have a special offer for listeners of the podcast for Used Car Week. Tell them about that a little.
Yeah, one of the things that we've been really fortunate with Used Car Week is to have a great group of sponsors each year, great group of exhibitors, and we highlight them, and we celebrate them. They're great partners of ours, and they've been with us for years, and so it's been great. But with that support, we do offer dealers, or anyone that works in a dealership, a free pass, a free ticket to come out and attend as little or as much of Used Car Week as they would like. Now, of course, this doesn't cover travel and hotel and food and anything like that, but it is a free ticket. And the conference registration for Used Car Week is right around $1,000. So it's a pretty significant offer, and we're really happy to be able to team with you and your audience and offer that. If you're a dealer, or if you work in a dealership and you'd like to attend Used Car Week, we have a free ticket for you.
That's great. I mean, dealers should definitely take advantage of that. And lastly, Bill, anything else that I didn't mention you'd like to discuss?
No, man, Zach, I just appreciate the time. I want to give you credit for launching the podcast here. I want to reciprocal. I want to have you on the Auto Remarketing podcast sometime soon too, right?
Would love to.
Awesome. No, I think you've done a great job. I think it's a great service, and these kind of conversations and what you've been doing in the past as well is valuable for the industry. And I know you're a popular guy out there. I know the podcast continues to kind of rise in the rankings and so forth. So I congratulate you. And again, I appreciate just the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you and with your audience.
Appreciate it, Bill. And thanks so much for joining the Used Car Dealer podcast today.
Thanks, Zach.